Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Emily Simpson thinks Alexis Bellino ruined her RHOC comeback by being John Jansen's mouthpiece. Emily Simpson started The Real Housewives of Orange County Season 18 in a good place with Alexis Bellino. While they were never best friends, they knew each other, and despite Alexis's issues with Shannon, they could be cordial with one another. However, their friendship fell apart near the end of the season as Emily disagreed with how Alexis and John Jansen were going after Shannon beat her. Like viewers, Emily felt it was too much, and even had a screaming match with Alexis during an event at Jennifer Pedrante's home. Now that the season has finished, Emily has reflected on things and opened up about Alexis in a wide-ranging interview with Variety. The lawyer was asked about Alexis being the unofficial spokesperson for John. Alexis received a lot of heat for continually mentioning her boyfriend's name on the show and declaring that she wanted to redeem him. Alexis squandered an excellent opportunity. Viewers didn't learn much about Alexis during season 18 because of her dedication to her man, which may hinder her future on the show. Emily admitted that Alexis continually going to bat for John was annoying and obnoxious. I think she did herself a complete disservice by constantly being his mouthpiece and constantly bringing up the lawsuit at any possibility she could, the mother of three said. Even when she wasn't invited to London, her response had to do with the lawsuit and John, not herself, Emily reasoned. And I think it was a disaster that she was never her own person. It was just John. It's a shame Alexis didn't break free of the John and Shannon drama. It was crucial to really highlight that she was right for the show at this point in her life. Now that the season is over, we can confidently say that Alexis had one of the biggest falls from grace in Bravo history, and it's surprising that she didn't use the reunion to right some of those wrongs. Alexis may not be asked back for RHOC Season 19. Andy Cohen previously teased that the reunion is mostly calm until Alexis arrives, and the official reunion trailer shows her getting called out by both Shannon and Emily. Emily has an astoundingly witty read for Alexis, saying that every trash can needs a lid, and John Jansen found his. Of course, the reunion footage also showcases Alexis firing back at Emily, so we think it's fair to say that they leave the season-ending event on the outs. The good news for Emily is that she came out of the season smelling of roses, so she's likely guaranteed a contract for season 19. Alexis faces a tougher road to get a callback because she didn't have much of an impact, and Shannon has already indicated she wouldn't return if her nemesis receives a callback. Casting decisions for season 19 will probably not be made official for months because filming will probably not begin until early next year. Emily Simpson's Real Housewives of Orange County comeback was supposed to be her moment, her chance to bring her own bold flavor back to the show without being overshadowed. But as it turned out, Alexis Bellino had other plans. Emily had expected a few fireworks here and there. After all, this was the Housewives, and no comeback came without a few shocks. What she hadn't anticipated was how quickly Alexis would wedge herself into her storyline. By the time Emily realized what was happening, it felt as if Alexis had become John Jansen's unofficial spokesperson, undermining Emily's every move and deflecting the focus off of her big return. In the weeks leading up to the season premiere, Emily had kept her cards close to her chest. She was confident, or at least as confident as any housewife could be when stepping back into the lion's den. She had crafted her image carefully, played up her wit and charm, and wasn't afraid to go head-to-head with anyone who crossed her. There was just one thing she hadn't accounted for: Alexis Bellino's sudden reappearance. At first it seemed like a strange twist, almost like the producers had reached into a dusty box and pulled Alexis out, shaking her off and placing her back into the mix with a sly grin. Alexis, after all, hadn't been on the show in years. Her return had a nostalgia factor, but it was unclear if she'd be able to keep up with the new, evolved world of RHOC. However, Alexis was anything but rusty. She was as polished and presentable as ever, and her relationship with John Jansen seemed to give her a direct line into the group dynamic. Emily could tell right away that Alexis and John had a peculiar alliance. John had been dating Shannon Beater on and off, which always made him a topic of conversation among the housewives, even when he wasn't physically present. But now with Alexis by his side, the self-declared friend of every ex-housewife trying to make a statement, he suddenly seemed to have a mouthpiece, someone to smooth things over or stir them up as needed. Every time John was mentioned, Alexis found a way to swoop in, putting her own spin on things. If someone criticized him, Alexis would jump in with an anecdote about how misunderstood John was or offer an overly gracious defense on his behalf. At first, Emily figured Alexis was just trying to reestablish herself, looking for some relevance in a group where every woman fought for screen time. But then, Emily noticed Alexis's conversations always seemed to circle back to one person, her. In scene after scene, Alexis found a way to subtly undermine Emily, often without Emily even noticing right away. It was like Alexis had a sixth sense for finding Emily's pressure points. She'd bring up moments from the past where Emily had clashed with other housewives, make a comment about how Emily always seemed a little tense, or playfully question Emily's motives. And conveniently, every comment was couched in a half-smile, as if she were just making an innocent observation. But Emily knew better. She could see right through the fox friendliness. John, too, had a way of showing up in unexpected places. He and Alexis would pop up at events they hadn't been invited to, and suddenly, John would be sitting next to Emily, with Alexis a little too eagerly providing commentary on her every move. The more Emily tried to confront him directly, the more Alexis would jump in, deflecting questions or sweetly insisting that John really wasn't trying to make a scene. Emily, for her part, tried to keep her cool. After all, she had made the decision to come back, and she didn't want her comeback tainted by unnecessary drama. But Alexis seemed to be everywhere, worming her way into every storyline and always siding with John whenever the tension got thick. She would praise his good heart and make offhand comments about how misunderstood he was, how everyone always gossiped about him. It was infuriating. One evening, after yet another exhausting party where Alexis and John managed to suck all the oxygen out of the room, Emily finally had enough. She cornered Alexis by the bar, ready to confront her, but Alexis just gave her a serene smile, her eyes wide with mock innocence. "What's the matter, Emily?" she asked, her voice like honey. "I thought you'd be happy to have someone here who really understands John. You two go way back, after all." Emily's mouth fell open. "Since when are you the expert on my friendships? I don't need you inserting yourself into my life to explain my relationships, Alexis." Alexis tilted her head, her eyes flashing with something almost like amusement. "I'm just here to bring a little balance, that's all. Everyone deserves a friend who won't judge them too quickly." Emily clenched her jaw, feeling the frustration bubbling up. It was clear that Alexis had every intention of staying planted in her life, but she wasn't about to let her hijack her storyline. This was Emily's comeback, not Alexis's, and it was supposed to be her moment to shine, to prove herself as more than just the opinionated lawyer who clashed with her castmates. But Alexis seemed intent on framing Emily as the villain in this little drama she was writing. She kept twisting every conversation, and when she wasn't doing that, she was redirecting questions meant for Emily toward herself and John, using every opportunity to subtly frame her own comeback story as the ultimate triumph. It was like watching someone rewrite your own biography right in front of you, and Emily wasn't going to stand for it. In the weeks that followed, Emily ramped up her strategy. She started showing up at events looking more polished, more composed, ready for Alexis's digs. She played it cool, letting Alexis's remarks roll off her, and even began throwing in a few subtle jabs of her own, hinting that perhaps Alexis was better suited to a supporting role than a starring one. The audience loved it. They watched, transfixed, as Emily pushed back against Alexis's attempts to paint her as difficult or too quick to judge. By the end of the season, Emily's comeback had taken on a different hue. Instead of the triumphant return she had imagined, it became a battle of wits and strategies, with Alexis and John as the unexpected adversaries. But the viewers loved it. They admired Emily's resilience, her ability to rise above Alexis's meddling and stay focused on her own journey. In the end, Emily walked away knowing she had reclaimed her narrative. Alexis may have tried to ruin her comeback, but Emily had turned the tables, and if anything, she had emerged even stronger. It wasn't the storyline she had envisioned, but maybe it was even better, a testament to her strength and her determination to hold her ground, no matter who tried to stand in her way.